I started as a street footballer, really playing football on the streets, or after school I used to jump over these gates. And back in those days, the gates weren't massive then; they were probably about a metre and a half. School gates now they're probably 10 feet high now. But there was a particular school I used to go to all the time, and I used to meet my friends there every day. And really, that's where my coaching kind of coaching kind of experiences started and playing football, because you're in a school. It's maybe 10, 12, 15 boys. Some are older as well, some are younger, and you learn how to kind of some are better, obviously skill wise as well. So there's all types of talents out there. But it's mainly on the floor. It's getting out of tight areas to score, getting out of tight areas to kind of set someone else on, and at the same time your fitness levels is going through the roof, because you're there every day, and it's actually high quality football you learn. And so I had there was people from black backgrounds. There was a kind of Asian area, so there was quite a lot of Asian players playing as well. A couple of white guys as well. It was a nice mixture. It's diverse, but it's all about football, and that's the beautiful thing. I had, so I was playing there on the streets as well, or maybe over the park, or in a block of flats, and you got two lifts, and that was the goals. And so it's all football for me. There's a little bit of tennis in there. I play a little bit of tennis, but athletics as well. But majority of the time was in between school break times. It was football, but the majority of my learning process was at the school and playing day in, day out, and to maybe I sneak back home and before dusk sets in. So I didn't really get trained really until maybe properly trained until I was maybe 13. So it was all street football I learned, and I learned a lot from that. I think for me, going back, playing in tight areas, I think that you prove your skill, because in a block of flats, you've got two lifts. The size of a lift is about, I don't know, metre and 20 maybe less than that, maybe a metre wide. So you've got a small goal to kind of shoot at, and at the same time, you've got all sorts of obstacles, and you've got people walking past, and you've got to stop and start. So it gives you and then you've got your mates on the side waiting for the next game to start. Whoever scores a goal, and then you're off. A little bit like a Wembley kind of scenario, one versus one 1v1s. So you learn a lot like that. It's good. A lot of tight areas, so that's good for me, going forward for football.
What do you think your key attributes were that made you the player you were?
I think for me, there is, there's a pace and the strength, but there's the ability to kind of change pace and to slow down. I had that maybe because I played a lot of tennis, so my footwork was, for a big guy, was good, was very good. So that was key for me. As I got bigger, I kind of relied on that a lot, my footwork, so I wouldn't get outfoxed by smaller, nippier forwards. So so that was good for me, and and just playing it simple and good passes and conscientious, and also working out the space as well. I was very good to kind of move my feet, move my body into a position that I could zip it out wide or zip it into midfield, and create space and create overloads from a centre half position. So I was good working things out. I was good. That's my mind. I used to play chess. Obviously, not a lot of people used to play chess back those days, but I used to play chess a lot to kind of strategize. I think now they encourage youngsters to play chess, so to strategize in their heads. So I used to always, the angles are very good at the making the right angle to pass in the right angle to create an overload further down the pitch. I used to kind of like that, whipping it and getting it out to the wings or the fullback, pushed up high to create a problem higher up for us.
What type of technical, tactical work do you think coaches should potentially be focusing on centre-backs now, young centre-backs specifically, in your opinion?
Yeah, first thing is running off the ball. Just keep on moving. Good centre forwards are always no good centre forwards just staying still. Yeah, sometimes stand still in the box if you cut back, and defenders go back. But in that kind of last third, or maybe the half, in your half and the last third, that for me, that's the zones that you got to be really aware. And sometimes you have to do maybe couple of dummy runs before that centre forward makes that vital run, because they're gambling, and in their head they can gamble when they want to gamble. But you've got to, as a defender, you got to mark them. You got to mark the dummy runs. You got to mark their fake runs, and then you got to get back into position, because they are deciding when to go. And that's you just got to accept that. But for me, running off the ball, awareness of the guy traveling around you, and then popping back on side, and then popping, further down the line, but he's on side. You got to track those runners, or make sure your defenders around you are tracking them and making them aware, passing them on. But for me, running off the ball, better, make sure the higher you go up the, international level, it's the running off the ball, it's the clever runs. And for me, the rule of thumb is almost, yes, it's nice to play, offside, but for me, it's so tight now. I'd rather drop back, make them play in front, and then squeeze the space than kind of really kind of dicing and gambling on, he's offside. When it's really tight, I'd rather just drop back in, make them play in front of me, and then squeeze them up and tighten them as a unit. Because, if you do, yes, VAR is in, but if it is a perfect run, they're in, and we're talking about dropping off 5 yards or 3 yards sometimes. And that's the difference. It's just a yard here, 2 yards there. That all makes a difference. But every single yard, it's more energy you got to kind of exert to get through the game. But that makes the difference. That yard there, that 2-3 yards back, to make sure he has to play in front of you. The winger has to play in front of him. I'd rather have it to feet, and then I'll close the space down, than kind of him make clever runs and across the goal mouth, and it's a tap in, or he slides in the back post, and he's having a shot at goal. So for me, I'd rather give myself a little bit and let them play in front of me, and then squeeze the space.
As you got in your latter part of your career, what changed for you a little bit then, in terms of, because you're still quick there, aren't you? You're still covering the ground really well. You've still got lots of agility, which were the attributes we were talking about earlier on.
Positional sense, really, really, my positional sense as a young lad, with the pace and things like that, really came into its own now, because you're not as quick as you're 25, but you're still half decent. You still can kind of keep up with people, but you're not 25, and you really got to get the positional sense, and that allows you to, when you need to really turn the turbo boost on, you're there. And also you save your legs as well. If you get in the right position, you don't run as much, and then when you need to run, it's there, because you don't want to be 34, 35, not in the right position, always relying on your pace to get you out of danger. You're not going to last. The last 20 minutes, 70 minutes plus, you're going to be, struggling in the game, because you've exerted so much. I'd rather use my brain to get into positions, and then, if I need to, use the pace to kind of, execute a tackle or whatever. But I don't want to be always in the wrong position, 34, 35, coming back to Arsenal and always have to cover positions. Just use your voice, use your experience to get in positions. And then when you really, really need it, turn on the turbos and get out of trouble. But really, for me, that experience kicked in massively as I got older.
I think it's fascinating when you watch this back, because I totally agree with you. You've got you look at your body shape, and you've got one eye on your man who's drifting towards the far post. You've got one eye on the player who's breaking from midfield, and you're also assessing everything that's going on in front of you, and you're on about making quick decisions. What are some of the? Can you think about some of the triggers and cues that you're going off when you look at this? Because
it's a foot. His foot.
His foot.
Yeah, it's him. I don't know who's number 4, but it's the foot. It's the angle of his foot. If he, well, not unless he kind of all of a sudden goes outside his boot, but I think he's already committed to straight ball diagonal run. Yeah. So for me, I'm looking at your foot. I'm looking at your body shape. I'm looking at your leg. I'm looking at which leg, things like that. I'm looking at, all these, for him to do outside the book, that would really put pressure on his skill level. And the easier ball and the safe ball that probably works out, 9 times out of 10, is that straight ball diagonal run, and they've probably got goals from that. But for me, it's all about, the foot, the angle, the time, the space he's got, to actually execute the pass. So for me, once it's reduced and it's 18-yard box, then I know unless he does it outside the boot back post, he's going to choose the easy option. Yeah, at the higher level, some guys can do that, and you've got to wait for the right moment to kind of, play it out. Let him pass and then cover instead of anticipating, being clever, and then quickly change and go outside the boot, right boot, back post. So I'm waiting on the foot angle all the way. I'm just looking at I'm looking at body shape, I'm looking at the run, but also I'm looking at, how tight and what can he actually do in that space. Can he dig it out with his right boot if that midfielder goes across? Some players can do that, but I don't think he's got that locker, and you do get surprised sometimes. But for me, I'm looking at, he's committed. The easy ball is the straight ball diagonal run because he's in, and he could, shoot with his left and score. So I'm shutting down the angles as soon as possible. He's on his run. He's committed. He can see it. I'm playing slightly deeper. He's thinking, well, he's on. I can get there. But I'm just ahead of it and anticipating that he can't go outside the boot. The easy one, instep, straight ball, diagonal run.
What was the process then? You that 5-10 minutes. What was the process you went through when you're assessing that players?
Like a goal kick, when the winger has the ball, how do they play it in? Do they like clipping it over your head because he's a bit nippy? He wants to get on the other side of you. Does he do a 1-2 and gets behind? Does he love the 1-2 that comes short, suck the defender in and in the space? All that kind of stuff. So you had to really, I might have got away with a little pace and things like that, but sometimes you might not be in the right position and he gets away with it. So then you kind of say, right, you had to work out within 10 minutes. Like, I allow you to have it feet, but you're not having it behind because I know you like that movement already. Yeah. So you're not getting that all day. You get in front of me and I close you down, but you're not going to do 1-2 and I'm going to switch off and you do a pass behind me and then you're in. So you had to really work out. And now it's different. They've got all these guys and girls helping them out and sussing out individual players. But really, back then, you had to work out a player very quickly.
Overall, then, to try and summarise on that, you think that the modern day defender needs to have all the attributes, but he needs to be able to slip to the right ones. It's the right golf club out the golf bag at any particular time.
It's almost like a quarterback. And sometimes, they're starting, and also the keeper is coming a lot more as well. And also that it's all possession play and in the right pockets and things like that. But the trouble is, if you can't, you got to be able to be comfortable with space. If you're not comfortable with space and you see a space around you, this type of modern day footballer, I didn't have a problem having a space around me. But some players, some defenders like people close to them and like a tight unit. Obviously now it's more you can split, and then the goalkeeper's like the sweep or almost an auxiliary centre back, and he's a pivot and is the safe ball back, and then he's winging it out to the left back or the right back. Depending on the quality of him and his footwork. So you've got to be a quarterback. You've got to make the right decisions. You've got to close down. You've got to push in as well when the right moment is there. You've got to make 2 or 3 3-on-2 scenarios or 2-on-1 scenarios every now and again. And then you've got to get back into position because you're the last defence, and then it's just the keeper. So you've got to do a lot now.